everyone, welcome to Jie Podcast. I'm back with Jolene. So today we have a very, very interesting show to talk about, which is the Pod Generation. And this show was on Apple. So I don't think Apple TV. So I don't think a lot of people actually watch the show because it's not on like Netflix or Disney Plus. But it features Amelia Clark, so I'm sure a lot of people have also like at least seen it on TikTok. I first saw it on TikTok.
Oh really?
Yeah, but of course today it's not going to be a critique of the show, but rather the idea of babies being born in pod. So that's the name Pod Generation. So the premise of the show is that in the future you can have an egg and a sperm meet outside of the body, so it's like IVF, but then it will grow in a pod. So when it's full term, you have a code to break open this egg and the baby will be born. Yeah, so what do you think of the movie?
Okay, I think at first I was expecting it to be quite heavy, but actually it turned out really as what it was marketed as. Like it was satire, it was sci-fi, and I actually really found it quite funny.
Yeah. I actually quite like the movie, so go and watch. Okay, so go and watch before we spoil it for you, which we're going to make a lot of reference to the show.
Going to spoil it.
Spoilers! Yes.
Spoilers alert!
Yeah, okay. What are your thoughts on having a pod baby? Do you think it's a... Okay, simple one.
Yeah, okay.
Good or bad idea? Let's say in 3, 2, 1. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Good! Hey!
Wait, I forgot whether I was gonna say yes or no. Or
I
good.
said good or bad! Let's try this again.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Good!
Good. Bad.
What was good? What was good?
I cannot decide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To be fair, at first I cannot decide also.
Really? Okay.
But I really spent a few days like pondering over this issue. Let me start with why it took me so much pondering. Okay, so first of all,
Pottering.
what I say is good. Okay, so the idea of this pod baby, right? Okay, we're just going to base it everything like what the show says lah. So we're not going to create our own form. So based on like what the show says, this baby is an external. It's like a membrane. So it basically is like your womb. So you can like, the baby can feel, can hear, can feel, and you can feel the baby's movements even. So it's exactly like having a womb that you can remove, which is kind of like creepy in a way, which I think that's why I thought it was bad. Because I don't know whether I thought it's bad because it's trying to play God or because it's a change and I feel very uncomfortable with the change, but I don't know whether that is necessarily bad. So I was thinking like, why exactly is that bad? Because when you can actually have this ability to remove your womb, right, the egg, and move it around, you are removing a lot of stress on the pregnant person's body. The problem with it is that a lot of women want to feel the baby growing with them, which is nice in theory, but if you talk to pregnant women, you will know that a lot of them complain about their pregnancy. So I've never been pregnant, so I don't know how. I'm sure for everybody, even pregnancy is different. So I don't know how much I would actually enjoy it, because like you hear the common symptoms, you have nausea, you have stretch marks. It may be very surface things, even like getting fat, but it does affect your self-esteem. And do you really want to like spend the next 1 year trying to lose weight? A lot of women say it's worth it, but yes, but if you have the option to not, will you take it? And then another thing is, of course, your back pain, hips pain. Sometimes even, there's this YouTuber I used to watch, her name is Babs Beauty. I don't know if you heard of her before, but then she said her baby boy, right, her body was actually reacting to her baby's, I don't know if it's hormones or what, but it was causing her to break out in rashes. And because she's pregnant, she cannot use steroids. So she was like literally taking frozen peas from the freezer and then putting it in her inner thighs because they were like, it was so itchy.
Ouch.
So it's, and then like even like the Duchess, the Queen of England, the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate lah, not Camilla, but she also, I think when she was pregnant, she was also quite sick, like had very severe form of morning sickness until some people even put on bed rest. So that's why I was really struggling to think about balancing the pros and cons of this, because another thing that the movie showed, right, was that when you have this egg, your husband or your partner can also experience the pregnancy and can also be part of the suffering. In a way lah, okay, so in the movie actually they didn't really suffer a lot, because even the food for the baby was just like was an espresso pot.
Yeah.
Was like an espresso pot that they just give the egg. But I think it was the idea, like the husband, the Emilia Clarke's husband, what's his name in the show?
LV,
yes.
LV.
So the husband, LV, he would strap the egg on, bring it to work, really talk to it, and then grow a bond with it. Which I was like, oh, that's something that's quite interesting, that men are like able to take over that role. And I was thinking, is that a good or bad thing? I was actually like, what's the bad thing about it? I can't really think of anything bad. At least not in the movie, they didn't show anything bad. So the only thing that I would say is like, yeah lah, they are just playing God lah.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on it? Why do you think it's bad?
Okay, firstly, I'm a bit undecided because I think with every new technology, right, it's always trying to serve a need,
Yeah.
serve a lack. Yeah, and I mean, I have friends who try to have a baby but can't, right? And they are going through IVF.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like, I can't imagine the journeys they go through, because it's like you're expecting to have a fertilized egg and to have it grow, but then sometimes you don't get that, and it's like back to square one again. But with this technology, you get like almost 100% chance, because
the womb is perfect lah, in that sense. Yeah.
And you remember the scene where they actually see the sperm,
Yeah, that was cool.
the sperm meeting the egg.
That was very cool scene.
Yeah, and then it's like the president of the womb center was like, yeah, you can do it, like
She was cheering on the sperm.
cheering on the sperm, and I mean the other sperm died lah, so it was a bit morbid, right?
Yeah, but I thought it was quite a cool scene.
I think that, yeah, it's cool. So, right, okay, on your point, right, about women having different kinds of pregnancies, and some pregnancies are really tough, like physically, emotionally. Like, I just can't imagine how much the body is going through lah. Yeah, and there was a quote in the movie that says like, no woman is completely free until they have complete control over their reproductive system. So they're not victims of biology. Yeah. But I think at the same time, right, is that thought that this is bad. Like, going through these like changes in your body is bad. But if I can like reframe my mind, right, and be like, actually this is amazing. This is what my body can be put through.
Okay.
And it's like going for war, you know. Like, this is how I got pregnant, and this is then how I pushed out a baby.
That's a very visual that you're doing.
I don't know. Like,
okay, but then my question would be like, okay, why?
why?
Yes, why? So I don't know. I feel like the thing about this sci-fi. By the way, I found out that these type of sci-fis are called philosophical sci-fis.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Isn't that quite interesting? Because it really makes you think. Because okay, with technology, like you say, right, it serves a need, and technology, every time I think new things, especially more extreme things come out, there's always this slippery slope argument. So people get into that. So when you mention about, yes, women can go through this, the question is, why would you want to? And another thing is, if you're saying that, right, then for example, if you get an epidural while you're giving birth, that's another way of advancements in, that is technology that is helping you not experience the pain. But there are still a lot of women who feel like they want to experience the full extent of it. But there are a lot of people who say, I don't want. Because not technically, it actually doesn't serve a purpose for you to go through that pain. Right? You know, it's not like if you have epidural, you give birth to the baby, then the IQ points will be lower or something like that. It doesn't, or it's like the baby is weaker. It doesn't really, it doesn't have a relation. So why then would you want to go through it?
I don't know whether it's morbid, but I think I would want to be faced with the limitations and the breakthroughs that my body can do.
So you are one of those people who are saying no epidural for me.
Maybe you'll try until you need or maybe the baby in the first place cannot come out the natural way, then need to do C-sec. I'm a C-sec baby. I was standing up, apparently, bridge position.
Okay, but now you're saying is no choice. Now you're saying C-section, yes, bridge baby is no choice.
Yes.
But you're talking about people who have choice. But epidural is most of the time is a choice, what?
True.
Epidural is not because I have no option, I have to take what?
But okay, I'm not very familiar with this, but if you don't take the epidural, will you like faint from the pain or something?
My mother said she did.
Huh?
My mother said she did.
Oh.
She said, okay, this is something. Actually, my mother is just dead, but I don't. But I don't know. I don't know if she said that when she took epidural with me, I came out very sleepy. I've never heard of this side effect. Okay, but so I don't know whether it was really because of that. But she said so she tried when she gave birth to my brother. She didn't have any epidural, any pain, and she fainted from the pain.
Oh my goodness.
But then she woke up and continued. So it's not that you cannot do without epidural. You still can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, so I think because like I guess the modern woman, right, is not used to like physical hard work, as in labor, right? I mean, okay, I don't know whether this argument is legit, but it's like people in the past are out in the fields working and they are more like hardy lah in some sense, and therefore they can like give birth to like 12 children like the natural way.
By the 12th one, it was just a water slide out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, coming back to this, we are talking about why not is the question of why not, right? When you have that option.
Yes. Yeah.
Is the idea that women want to pursue careers and in a sense not have their productivity decrease.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having that external womb kind of facilitates that, right? But I feel like if life is about productivity, then yes, like it's good. But I think for me, life is not about productivity. Yeah, it's about experiencing that internal womb.
Okay.
and feeling that the tiredness and all that, and being able to deal with that.
Really experiencing the pregnancy journey lah. That's what
yes.
I mean. I guess because if such things become readily available in the future, it may be expected of you to do so. Rather than, because if I think of it now, right, I think of it's a good thing because it's an option. An option is always because I can choose.
Correct.
But you never want to end up in a situation where you are, why don't you just do this? Or you are lowering your productivity. Why do I have to give you a ML or HL? Some people take HL before, right? Why do I have to give you? Because you choose not to carry your child.
Yeah.
So that is something that might happen if such things becomes very widespread.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, I mean the thought of that is quite mind-blowing because remember the scene where she actually brought the external egg to the office. And then there was actually a pod room
Yeah.
for them to place the pods inside.
To incubate their
Yeah.
babies, yeah.
Incubate their babies. Yeah, just like, okay. I mean, it's like your Tamagotchi lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think, okay, so when we're talking about this, we're definitely going to like, the idea of surrogacy definitely comes in. So do you think that this is similar to surrogacy?
I think it's similar to a certain extent, but surrogacy would mean that the surrogate mom's body is like the pod,
Yeah.
right? And in some sense, I guess that is the vessel to carry the baby. But the difference is that there is bonding with the surrogate mother in the womb. So it means, right, actually you are having a third parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
I think
what
that complicates things.
I think now that we're talking about it, one of the things that I think on a con side for me is that the fact that as parents then you can choose how often you want to carry the baby, because I think when I don't have any studies to support this, but I will assume that fetus when you're fetus, right, you always have to be attached to your mother all the time, not just when the mother chooses to. And when you have this option of it being away from your body, of course for surrogate you never have this problem, but for external womb you do have this problem of, oh, now it's very heavy, do I want to keep carrying it? Now I'm tired, I'm sweaty, do I want to continue looking after it? You know what I mean? Because then you can, right? You can either give it to someone else,
Yeah.
or you can put it aside.
Correct.
And they have this like, nice little stand somewhere that you can just look at it.
Yeah.
But if you are really like carrying the baby as the mother, the baby is always hearing you speak, always hearing your heartbeat, always hearing the sounds of like your stomach and all this. And then whatever development is coming from that, I don't think we will know, we can really quantify, because having a egg baby has not been done before. And I feel like actually even to experiment having an egg baby, right, it's not what's that word called? It's very unethical to experiment having an egg baby, especially like the first one. Because okay, then subsequent ones maybe yes, you have perfected your science or whatever, then you're kind of like, okay, we have controlled the parameters. But can you imagine for your first experimental egg baby, there will definitely be things developmentally that you've missed. So even to create that, I think is a bit unethical.
Well, I'm pretty sure there are lots of unethical things that are happening in the medical field that we don't know about.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
But this
definitely.
one of them.
Yeah. But I think what you raised, right, is I've heard some pregnant friends say before that actually the bonding with the mom begins in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like you said about how the mom's voice to, yeah, just the habits, like the child actually knows the mom.
Even the emotions, I think that's why they said like pregnant women, you'll try and keep them as happy as possible, because I think really negative and I think in some ways like I've seen it, like unhappy moms during pregnancy, it can affect the kind of baby that you have, which is so intricate. It's really so intricate, and there are so many factors to think about, and yet these factors don't affect everyone the same way.
Yeah.
So that's why I would think about it. Yes, it's a nice idea in theory if I am the 1 millionth one to do it. Not the first. Let me ask you this. One of the things that I did appreciate though was the fact that the father is able to also bond with the baby. And what do you think about that?
I actually like that because
It was quite sweet, right?
yeah, it's quite sweet because I think to give some context, I mean, especially if you have watched it already, right? LV is the opposite and like quite anti-technology lah. Actually, he really wasn't very keen on the idea for the pod, but because of how he saw how it mattered to Rachel, and he was like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, and to see how he then saw the pod as actually a growing human being, and then wanting to bond with that child, right? I think it was very lovely to see. And I think it's great for dads, because I think sometimes they feel helpless, right? With the normal births that we see now, because they're like, I cannot, I can only like support my wife.
Actually, I do hear this thing that men feel very
Disconnected.
disconnected from the baby after the baby is born, and they always say it's because, you know, the mother, she has 9 months to born with the baby. Your father, on the day the baby is born, then you're like, okay, I can finally hold this baby, I can finally feel this baby actually. So yeah, I also thought that was very sweet, and unfortunately, men can't get pregnant. Would that be nice though?
Yeah.
Take turns. You know,
Take turns,
unrelated. No, let me tell you. Okay, so right, there's this show on Netflix. So they were talking about LGBT couples. So there's this lesbian couple in Taiwan, and they really take turns to get pregnant. You know.
Oh.
And I thought it was quite interesting because how often do you have a couple where you can both relate to the struggles of pregnancy and being in the then supporting role? And then when I was watching this, I was like, oh, okay, I mean, he's not giving birth, but like then to because when he got so attached to the egg, he also started to release some hormones which made him moody, or made him like, like how a pregnant woman would experience the hormone fluctuations. He also started to experience it. And actually, how rare is it for like men to actually, it's not rare, I assume they don't, I don't know, okay, I don't know what the men hormones, but for them to really feel like, oh, I can feel the baby kicking, I can feel this excitement in them as well. So yeah, that's something actually that's quite nice.
Yeah, and I think to the extent that Rachel felt like she wasn't bonding
She
wasn't bonding with the child, and she went to talk to her therapist, which by the way was an AI therapist.
It was an eye.
With a huge eyeball. Yeah, what do you think of that eyeball?
This is the bonus section. So she actually had okay, so this was about the AI therapist. Hey, I think the AI therapist is a good idea.
To a certain extent.
Okay, so in the show, they were arguing that the AI eyeball, right, does not have a soul, does not have a consciousness. So it cannot relate to other people's consciousness. But my point of view is that the eyeball made a good point by saying that because it's AI, they are using all kinds of they're using purely scientific method now. And it's in a more unbiased way. I cannot say scientific method means it's unbiased, but it's very more unbiased, because then they're listening to facts and judging based on facts. But LV said that, how can unconscious thing tell me, unconscious being, how can you judge my consciousness? Which I thought was like, but they're talking about a real therapy context. Do you want your therapist judging your consciousness too? Because everybody go through different experience. The thing I like about this eyeball is everybody go through different experience. So the way that even your therapist view your problem is vastly different from how an eyeball will view your problem. And I know, because I tell you, I have some friends who have gone for counselling and unfortunately didn't go very well. And there was just this year, okay, I went for one of those counselling sessions on the Doctor Anywhere app. Have you heard of it?
Yep.
Oh my god, it was terrible. Because it was a very old man, and what I felt from the session was that he was very, first of all, he was not very understanding of my point of view. And okay, I don't think counselling is always about your point of view. Of course, there's you want to explore other points, but I would say as a counsellor, it is very important for them to not agree with you, but to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So the fact that he kept telling me that is me, like, is my thinking is wrong, I shouldn't think like that. So it was very bad. It was really, really very bad.
That's really strange. super
Eh,
strange.
you know, then I had another friend. She also went, and then she also it was for quite a it was a couple problem, and then the therapist also said something very similar. Like it was something that is very how to say very traditional.
Okay.
And of course, traditional doesn't mean it's wrong, but they are not helping them in the way that they wanted to be helped. And I can, from what she said, it sounds like she's bringing her own experience, her own culture, because my friend is Chinese and this person is from another culture, and she was kind of bringing her own culture practices into the situation. So yeah, even for therapy, there's this issue of like when you're actually from different culture, you do have that dissonance because
Right.
your practice, your beliefs are actually very different. So yeah, about this AI eyeball, I wouldn't say it's totally bad actually. I think there's some merit to it.
Okay, I feel like the limitations of a AI, right? I don't know whether it's because I related to LV, so I was also very triggered with all the questions that the eyeball was asking asking him. I was like, this is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's always gonna be almost like a script
Yeah.
like way of answering you or replying you.
But don't you feel like with the technology like ChatGPT, are you not amazed by how human ChatGPT sounds?
Yeah. Yeah, which is
It's a bit
but without a soul.
yeah. That's why it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. But the thing is that it's sounding more and more human, because last time if like you ask like Siri, right? You remember when Siri came out and then everyone was losing their shit because they're like, oh my gosh, so cool, so cool.
It can tell jokes.
Yeah, I can tell jokes. I can ask it, hey Siri, do you like me? And then it will reply and in the most human-like way. But then now even with ChatGPT, that has advanced even more to give complex answers. Because Siri is always you ask one, it answer one. You ask one, it answer one. It's no continuation, and also it's short answer. But now with ChatGPT, but with ChatGPT there's continuation. You can continue to ask it questions and to form like a full conversation with somebody, and it's like in that eyeball way, like you just talking to it. So it doesn't end up being like robotic script answers anymore. They can tailor it to you.
Yeah, basically you're feeding it like
you're feeding
information
it,
about yourself. I mean, like how algorithms work, lah.
Yeah.
You're like,
That's the AI ma.
this is yours.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a bit scary lah. Then one day people say AI is going to take over the world. It's probably true.
I think it's how you harness it, right?
People are definitely going to harness it for evil.
Yeah, like with anything. So I guess with this pod, there will of course be a black market, because can you imagine how expensive this technology will be?
Are you in favor of surrogacy then? I think surrogacy is the closest thing that like we say, like, it's the closest thing to having a artificial womb. And surrogacy, right, is illegal in Singapore. But then you can take your you can go overseas. Singaporeans, you can go overseas and then get other people to do it, and then you still can bring the baby back and call it yours.
Correct.
So I mean, you're just going one big merry round circle to come back to what you were going to do in the first place. It's just that it makes the process, of course, very expensive, very time consuming. So if you want to do that, it's really, you really want the kid. Yeah.
Surrogacy, I would say personally, I wouldn't do it, because to me, right, it makes the womb like a good lah.
It's a commodity.
Yeah, it's a commodity.
There's a price to it.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to reduce a person to be just a womb. Like, I see the person as a womb. Right. But then also I was watching videos of surrogacy births. Yeah. And I think there was one case where the surrogate mother was actually a really good friend of the parents. Yeah. And I thought to myself, wow, it's like if I really cannot conceive and my friend is like, hey, I'm willing to take on for you.
Oh my gosh, that's like Phoebe in Friends. Do you watch Friends?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, they did that?
She helped her brother, yes.
Oh. Okay. So I don't know, man. Like I'm torn. I'm really torn.
So maybe would you say that you would be okay with it if it was voluntary, 100% voluntary. You cannot accept payments for it. Would that make it better? Would that sweeten the deal for you?
Wow. I wouldn't do it for myself, I think. Maybe for, as in if let's say my friend chose to do it,
You
and
wouldn't judge lah.
I think like there's no way I can be like, hey, you shouldn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
cover.
let's circle back to
Circle back.
circle back to pot baby. So actually I was thinking about it in like more of a religious sense. About whether doing this pot is an act against God. You know what I mean? Because you're really trying to control nature. This is the ultimate form of controlling nature. I think because also in like the Bible it says a lot of times like I formed you in your mother's womb. They're always talking about how babies have to come from a mother. So the idea now that this baby is like not even from a mother, that is that like unbiblical, biblical. And actually I was thinking about it. I was thinking, right, as Christians, if I believe that God creates life and God really breathes life into humans, that if a baby can be born of this, it would not be a act against God, because I don't see how a birth could be an act against God, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
that would imply that this baby is not of God. And that is also very unbiblical.
Yeah, I think God allows many things to happen,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that it's the original design.
Yeah.
So I would say that I think the premise of it is just, wow. I would really return lah to the original design.
Which is
Which
it
is-
will mother lah from a mom.
Yeah, that God will give life, will take away life, will.
But like if this baby is born, would you say like, but that's why
Is it
I was
human or
thinking.
not?
Yeah, of course lah. If it's from an egg and a sperm, it's definitely a human.
But not in a mother's womb.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the difference. That's the very big difference.
Yeah.
But can you then say that this baby that is born is against God's will? And I guess another thing, another can of worms, just to think about. Okay, don't need to discuss this. Is then now would this baby have a soul, have a spirit?
Wow.
You know what I think of this, right? It's because when I was thinking, I don't know again whether this is true about animals not having spirits.
Oh,
Okay, I think it is a widely believed thing that animals don't have spirits. That like humans do, the consciousness that humans do, the ability to come to God as humans do. But I do believe animals go to heaven. I cling on to that. I cling on to that. But also when you have things like sheep that can be cloned, right? And that's the scary thing. Is it sheep can be cloned. You can clone this living thing into something that's breathing, walking thing. So if you're doing that to a human, right? Which I hope it's not been done before. I don't know whether it has been done in a secret lab, but if you just take that idea and put it into a human, is this human then now like a soulless being? Or does this person have like a spirit and a soul like everyone else? It's very like, you will never know because you can't see. You can't see. But when you have this type of like pot babies, would that then be the case for them? And what kind of human would they be? Would they just be like everyone else who has been born of someone? Deep philosophical questions.
I mean, I feel like there'll just be more complications.
For sure.
Yeah.
Some of the things the movie actually said is these babies cannot dream. Right?
Yeah. And then they have a dream, what
Dream sequence.
No, yeah, they like, you can get...
Oh, no,
remember
they have
at
a
one
dream
point-
pod.
Yeah, dream pod for the babies.
Yeah, they said it's experimental so that these
Yeah.
babies can also dream.
Correct.
But I think the what the movie was trying to say is that even though they tried to replicate, there are just some things about the human spirit and about humans that you just can never replicate with machines. And that's why these kids cannot dream.
Yeah. I think it's the issue with like control. Yeah, like some things are just you cannot explain on.
Yeah.
And like even if you can use science to explain, right? I read there are a lot more things that are so layered that we have no comprehension of.
Yeah, because I remember even reading that human brains are so complex that even though we've been like studying brains, you can perform surgeries on brains, but how the brain works it's not something that people can totally understand because it's so complex. So now I say I started saying it's a good thing, then now I'm like I have convinced myself out of it. It was not the only other way to convince. I just thought is this actually a good thing?
So, is it?
Back to undecided. Okay, but personally, if I would do it for myself, I would say... Actually, I started out saying yes lah. I would. Because...
Just try. Try first.
Not try, but I just think that the benefits of it are too good to be passed up. It does... And I'm not really too keen on like getting pregnant anyway, but just because I just don't feel like putting myself through pain. There's no other reason. Don't want to get fat, don't want to get the stretch marks, don't want to go through the pain. So I would think that actually if I thought like actually if it's like external, why not? Rather what I'm afraid of what my child would not have or would miss out on if I did go this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what else besides dreams they might be missing.
Yeah, like I said, like, there are so many parts of like the mother and baby's interaction, like hormones, there's like moods, even laughing or crying. So many like small things about the mother that the mother does that the baby can even react to it.
Correct.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I wouldn't want to really miss. I tell you what I will miss, right? I really love to eat sushi. I love raw fish. I love raw fish. I will be very sad.
So Celine will go for this because she want to eat sashimi.
Yeah, that's my reason.
Okay, so it's called the end credit scene, right? What happened was that I don't know who the guy was actually. He
was the CEO.
Is he CEO?
The womb center.
CEO of the womb center, and he was being interviewed on TV, and I think the interviewer was like, "So who is the customer of the womb center?" And the CEO actually said it was the children instead of the mothers. And then the interviewer asked, "So what do you envision the future of children to be?" What did he say?
The children can pick their parents.
Yeah, that children can choose their parents.
To be honest, have we all not wanted that though?
Yeah, maybe that's why they made this movie also. Yeah, and his advice to the children is to choose them wisely.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because how are children formed if the parents
don't form them
first? Yeah.
They believe the baby's consciousness is up floating
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that they just pluck it down every time someone has sex. They're like, okay, you come down.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean,
mind blowing movie. Okay.
But I feel like it's an easy movie to watch.
Yeah. It's not too dark. It's not too
It's
dark.
not too dark. It remains light.
It remains like for this type of topics that you can still watch and then feel happy after that. You don't feel a sense of dread in life. I hate those type of movies. Then after I watch, I'm like, no, the world is ending.
Depressed.
Everything is bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed it.
10 upon 10 recommend. So okay, go watch the Pod Generation and thank you for listening to our podcast again. We'll see you next time. Bye!